Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a veteran of the Imperial Guard in Warhammer 40k? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today in another episode of 40 Facts About the 40k Universe. If you're new to the channel, allow me to introduce myself. I am your host, Gersh1, your guide through the grimdark universe of Warhammer 40,000. If you have any suggestions for any other topics of 40k that you guys would like me to talk about, please let me know what it is in the comment section below. And if you do enjoy this type of content, support the channel by giving us a super thanks, subscribing, and hitting the like button. Sharing with your friends also helps. But with all that said, let's get into 40 facts on life as an Imperial Guard veteran. To be a veteran of the Astra Militarum is to be of the hardiest stock in all of humanity. Fighting tooth and nail through extreme adversity, veterans are born survivors. Standing as the walking embodiment of humanity's resilience in the face of unrelenting savagery in the galaxy, a veteran has a lot to be proud of. Often quiet and reserved, a veteran spends most days haunted by the memories of his past, memories that stretch as far back as his childhood on his homeworld. As vivid as the day they happened, these nightmares become very familiar to veterans who have seen their lives flash before their eyes on numerous close encounters with death. While luck played a large part in their longevity, most veterans are no strangers to survival. Most have a history of beating the odds, starting on their birth planet, where as children they survive the harsh realities of life on a feral world or a war world. Growing up on a war-torn planet where the threat of open war made combat preparation and defense commonplace, these veterans came from an upbringing where learning how to fire a gun or memorizing evacuation drills was taught before learning how to read or write. Some came from savage worlds where tribal warfare taught them not only to be cautious of the many predators that lurk in the bush, but also to guard against their own kind. They witnessed betrayal and deception that created a heightened distrust for their fellow man, but which provided a self-resilient character that has contributed to their survival. Whether born on these worlds or on a common Imperial world, all veterans at some point were collected and trained by the Departamental Militarum. And this is an experience often never forgotten by most veterans, the day they were recruited, where they recall being rounded up and gathered like cattle for slaughter. Regardless of their distaste for the poor treatment that was implemented during their training as guardsmen, most veterans would gladly return to that time in their lives. Even with things like live round drills and commissar punishments, it all seems to be mild compared to the horrible realities they've experienced in war. Veterans have seen the faces of the Xenos, the Heretic, and the Mutant. Some have stood face to face with the dreaded Greenskins. They have heard the wild screams of bullish creatures that lumber towards the front lines, fearless of Imperial weapon fire. The smell of these disgusting, towering monsters lingers with them wherever they go. Some veterans are haunted by the slender and shadowy silhouettes of the Eldar Harlequins after surviving a terrible ambush or assault. Their movements as mesmerizing as they were deadly. Never have they, nor will they ever see an attack so well executed and with such precision and speed. While freshly recruited guardsmen stand tall and courageous when talking about mankind's enemies, a veteran knows that no amount of military propaganda will prepare them for the truth. Veterans choose to stay silent and prefer never to intentionally recall the dreaded foe that they have witnessed firsthand. And while new guardsmen speak of the enemy with arrogance and hatred, a veteran has come to understand a sense of respect for their foe. No matter how deformed or deranged they may appear, the opponent must always be thought of as a capable soldier, one with the capacity to take a man's life just the same as he would take theirs. It's one thing to be exposed to a poor soul that was overlooked by the Emperor's grace, such as a lowly mutant. It's a completely different thing to be ordered to hold a line while hordes of these bastard forms of man charge their position. After witnessing this, a veteran can't help but feel lucky every single day for being born under the protection of the Emperor, and has escaped the mutating effects that life away from the Imperium can cause. They have fought against men that crawl from the sewers of the hive cities, their visage as putrid and grotesque as the filth they crawled out of. They have entered into trench warfare against horned enemies that are more goat than man. But even when fighting a human foe, the veterans have been exposed to the corruptive propaganda spewed out by the traitors who turn their backs on the Imperium, and foolishly they have attempted to carve out an empire of their own. False gods, anti-imperial ideologies, corrupted planetary governors, the veterans have seen all manner of hubris rise against the Imperium, but the hammer of the Emperor has always been brought down to bear on the foolhardy. While not overbearing, the pride a veteran holds is much stronger than any member of a regiment. They have seen not only the glorious victory of a campaign, but also have felt the overwhelming pride of seeing their regiment's flag stand sentinel over a battlefield. After witnessing mankind's true foe, it is not far-fetched to believe that a veteran's loyalty to the Imperium would falter. But the reality is that for those men that have come out victorious from a campaign, the will to fight for humanity is strengthened, not by the litany shouted by the preachers, but rather the respect and loyalty each guardsman has for his fellow brother. Veterans hold an incredibly strong bond with their fellow survivors. In a galaxy filled with countless horrors, a veteran develops full trust in those brothers that have fought in the same hell they came across. Now, some veterans are spread throughout the regiment as to inspire and educate new recruits, but most find comfort in spending their time with those that have witnessed the hideousness of war, and more importantly, will be prepared to face it again. Before a battle, a veteran finds his inspiration from the warriors that are as adept to war as he is, commanders that have come out victorious from the very same campaigns they have fought. A veteran's respect for those long-serving soldiers that shared a battlefield with them is enough to spread confidence throughout the entire regiment. Unfortunately, there is one foe that has become synonymous with corruption and has the power to subjugate any man's will. It is the most abundant threat to the Imperium. It is the ruinous powers of chaos. The dreaded depravity of chaos not only haunts but drags down most veterans who have had the misfortune of facing it. Veterans who have peered into the eyes of the chaotically tainted traitor can never truly be the same. Chaos leaves a psychic scar on a human like no Xenos or mutant can make. Veterans must constantly remind themselves that the Emperor protects, and through his guidance, the filth of chaos will be washed away. Many of these veterans hold talismans and charms close to their bodies to ward off the evil that they have faced. These trinkets can take the form of prayer beads, small medals ingrained with an imperial cult insignia, or small paper images of imperial saints, all of which have been passed out to the veterans at some point in their lives by the priests of the Adeptus Ministorum. It is not until a guardsman feels the hopelessness of facing down a warp-tainted human that they learn to truly appreciate the worship of the Emperor. While not all Imperial veterans become pious, a majority can't help but find hope in the Emperor of mankind. A veteran who has seen the pervasive effects of the warp finds comfort in the prayers taught to them by the priest of the Adeptus Ministorum. Many of these veterans spend a portion of their day in quiet prayer or meditation, hoping to push away the twisted memories of chaos. Along with the mental and spiritual scars, most Imperial veterans also carry physical marks of the trauma that they have faced. A portion of their day must be spent cleaning and maintaining the augmetic implants they were unfortunate enough to receive. Severed or damaged limbs are replaced with cybernetic prosthetics, and they require some level of upkeep. These replacements actually enhance the bearer's fighting prowess, and while unfortunate, they can play a big part in the continued survival of most veterans. Amongst veteran cohorts, it is uncommon to find a warrior without some form of bionic. From bionic organs that have replaced a part of or the entire original organ, to implant weaponry that have superseded a hand or occasionally the entire arm. The quality and maneuverability of the implants are often a sign of rank amongst veterans. The augmetic implants most fit for open conflict tend to be reserved for sergeants or members of a vanguard, while simpler implants that are more practical are grafted onto most veterans. Along with bionic implants, all veterans hold honors awarded for all manner of heroic deeds or worthy actions by the Astra Militarum. While most veterans hold some form of medal citation or reward, it is often hidden or stored away. Few veterans enjoy standing out from the crowd, both on and off the battlefield, and so it is rare to find a veteran displaying his badge of honor. Now, the biggest hurdle most veterans must face is the daunting realization that regardless of victory or defeat, there will be no progress, for in their life there will only be war. Each veteran comes to terms with this grim reality, and their reasoning varies from regiment to regiment. Some veterans find peace of mind knowing that their death will spare countless others. Some find honor in dying for the Emperor of mankind. Others still are simply happy to know that someday their suffering will end. Once death is the accepted outcome, the veteran can wholeheartedly focus their attention to surviving even longer in order to kill more of the enemy. Veterans will find pleasure in watching the enemies of the Emperor fall beneath the might of the Imperium. They will gladly follow their battle brothers into combat again and again. And that's life as an Imperial Guard veteran. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. More videos like this to come. I want to talk about the Catachan. I want to talk about the Death Corps of Krieg. I want to talk about the different regiments within the Astra Militarum. So if you have a suggestion for a specific regiment you guys want me to talk about, comment down in the comment section below. Again, if you like this type of content, support us with the super thanks. We also have an Audible subscription that you can support us with down in the description below. And liking, commenting, and sharing really helps out. We also have a Patreon, so if you just want to drop $1 a month for us, you can do that. Link also in the description. But other than that, we'll talk tomorrow. This is Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.